Rule Breaker, Courtney Johnston here from RuleBreakersClub.com with more copywriting and sales advice for you, the rebel with a cause. As you know, if you've been following me for a while, I am a huge proponent of talking to your audience or your target market or people who I call your muses to hear what they have to say about what they want so that your business can give them what they want and that you can use the language that they use to describe it in your marketing materials. Here's the thing. There are 3 specific areas in which I recommend you never listen to your target market because it will send you down a rabbit hole. In today's video, I'm going to tell you what those 3 areas are and what you should do instead of asking your target market about these topics. The first thing you should always ignore your audience about is what they're willing to pay for your offer. Pricing is a way more complicated topic than simply what somebody has in their bank account, because we all know that is not how we decide if we value something. The whole point of pricing is to show that the return on investment, whatever that means, whether it's money, time, happiness, well-being, less stress, etc., is more than or equal to what I paid for it with money. It's simply an exchange of value of one thing for the other. That's why we pay for things, not barter with goats and cows for like milk and honey. If you send a survey asking your audience what they're willing to pay for something, I guarantee you they're going to give you a price that is way under what they're actually willing to pay because you haven't sold them on the thing. If you ask me how much I'm willing to pay for a book about selling, I'll be like, nothing. I don't need a book about selling. It's your job to sell me on the book about selling, and then I'll say, okay, I'm thinking in my head it might be about $12, and you say it's $15, that's ballpark, and I will pay it. It's totally different than just coming out and asking people, what would you be willing to pay for this? If you'd like to know my entire process and how I pick prices for everything in my business, I have linked to my video on my process below this video, so make sure to go check that out. The second thing you should always ignore your audience about is what they need. Now, don't get me wrong, you should always listen to what they want. You should always, in fact, it's the biggest thing you should be listening to is what do your people want? However, and you know this if you're in a specific type of industry, health coaches, body confidence coaches, I'm talking to you. A lot of times what people say they want isn't really what they deeply want, and they don't know that. It's your job to know that. But you do also have to give them what they want. So here's some examples of this. If you are a health coach and you find that your target market only wants to talk about weight loss, you have to talk about weight loss. I'm sorry, but you cannot get away with not addressing that issue because it's what people are concerned about. Now, you might know that it's not really about the weight for your target clients. It's more about once they become healthier and have more routines and self-confidence or whatever it is that you know that they need, they will get what they want and the weight will fall off as a side effect. The key word is talking about the weight falling off as a side effect. Even if that's not really what they need, you absolutely have to address it in your marketing. The third thing you should always ignore your audience about, and frankly your own common sense, because I find most people really struggle with this, is customizing everything for every client who comes to you because there's no one size fits all. This is total BS, and I'm calling you out on it right now. If you run a business, it is literally your job to develop solutions for people's problems. If you tell me it's custom all the time, I don't know, what that tells me is you don't really have a solution. You're just gonna wing it and play it by ear and try to figure it out as you go. I only hire service providers who have their own signature process. Of course, it's going to be custom to my situation. Of course, I'm going to have little tweaks and things that I do differently. But the idea is that you have a core solution that you are selling, not we'll figure it out as we go or I'll customize it. If you're in the trap of writing proposals or customizing things for every client that you have, then I want you to listen up to this. I have a few questions that I want you to ask yourself in order to stop customizing your services and start producing a signature system. Question number 1. What are the core pillars, aspects, or categories that of things that you do with your clients? So maybe you work really generally as a health coach right now, but there's really like 5 different categories of things that you do. You need to separate those things into categories. Number 2, what is the last action someone has to take to get the result that they want? Then work backwards from there. What's the action that they have to take before that? And what's the step before that? And before that? Before you know it, you have your own signature process. The next question that I would like you to ask yourself is, what are the different types of clients that you have? Obviously, one solution is not going to be perfect for a 90-year-old grandma and a teenage punk guy on a skateboard. They don't want the same thing. And the same thing is true. That's an extreme example of your market. So what you need to do is decide who is the specific market that I want to talk to and that I'm solving a problem for, and that is the market that this service is for. And if I want to help another market, I will create a different solution or maybe a tier of that offer for those people. I hope you got a lot out of this video on the 3 things that you should always ignore your market about. And if you loved it, go ahead and share it on Facebook and Twitter. There's some click to tweets below this video, and I will see you next week.